She said she was working late. I brought her coffee. We'd been together for a year and a half. Her name was Kayla. She worked in marketing, and late nights at the office were nothing unusual for her. At least, that's what I thought. One Thursday evening, she texted me around 7 p.m., running late, still at work. Don't wait up. Normally, I wouldn't have questioned it, but I just finished my shift early and thought it would be nice to surprise her with coffee. She'd mentioned earlier in the week how tired she'd been, so I figured it would be a sweet gesture. I drove to her office, picked up her favorite drink on the way, and parked outside the building. But when I got there, the office was dark. Completely empty. I called her. No answer. I texted, "Hey, I'm outside with coffee." She didn't reply. That's when I noticed her car wasn't even in the parking lot. I waited in my car for about 20 minutes before deciding to leave. On the way home, I passed a small Italian restaurant a few blocks away. Through the window, I saw her sitting across from a man I'd never seen before. They were laughing, leaning in close. Her hand rested on his. I pulled over down the street and just sat there for a moment, my hands gripping the steering wheel. I could have walked in. I could have caused a scene. But instead, I took out my phone, snapped a single photo, and drove home. Later that night, she came in quietly, thinking I was asleep. The next morning, over breakfast, I slid my phone across the table with the photo open. She froze. "It's not what it looks like," she said immediately. I just shook my head. "Kayla, if you have to say that, you already know it's exactly what it looks like." She didn't try to argue after that. Here's what I learned. If someone's truly yours, you'll never have to go looking for them. And if you do, you probably won't like what you find. She didn't expect me to be at the same wedding. We'd been together for a year and a half. Her name was Julia. She'd been invited to a friend's wedding across town and told me it was a girl's thing, so I didn't need to come. She said she'd be at the bridal party table and busy the whole night anyway. A week before the wedding, a mutual friend mentioned the same event and casually asked, "So, you and Julia are going together?" I told her I wasn't invited, and she gave me a strange look but didn't say anything else. That bothered me. On the night of the wedding, I decided to stop by not as a guest, but just to see for myself. The reception was being held at a big, glass-walled event hall. From outside, I could see the dance floor, the buffet, and the tables. And then I saw her. Not with her girls. Not seated at the bridal table. But in the corner, at a small table for two, with a man I'd never seen before. He had his arm around her chair, leaning in close. She was laughing, touching his hand. I walked inside like I belonged there. No one stopped me. When I reached their table, she looked up and her smile dropped instantly. "What are you?" she started, but I cut her off. "Funny," I said, "you told me this was a girls-only night." Didn't realize that meant him. The guy shifted in his seat, clearly uncomfortable. "Hey, man," he began, but I held up a hand. "I'm not here for you," I said calmly. "I just came to return something." I pulled the house key from my pocket and set it on the table. "You won't need this anymore." Then I turned and walked straight out, past the shocked stares of her friends and the wedding guests who had no idea what had just happened. That night, she blew up my phone with messages, "It's not what you think." But here's the thing, when you see it with your own eyes, you don't have to think. You know. Here's what I learned. The truth doesn't always ruin the party, sometimes, it just ends the wrong dance. Our vacation turned into our worst nightmare. We'd been together for just over 2 years. Her name was Sophie. We'd been talking for months about taking a trip together, something special, just the two of us. When I booked a week at a beautiful beach resort, she lit up like a kid on Christmas morning. But a week before we left, I found something I wasn't supposed to see. Her laptop was open while she was in the shower. An email popped up from someone named Matt Redhart. The subject line, "Can't wait to have you to myself again." My stomach dropped. I clicked. The email talked about how he missed their weekends and couldn't stop thinking about her. There was no room for misinterpretation. I didn't confront her. Instead, I decided I'd let the trip happen and end it on my terms. We flew out, checked into the resort, and everything seemed perfect. She was smiling, laughing, acting like the perfect girlfriend. On the third night, she went to get ice from the lobby but was gone for over 30 minutes. When she came back, her hair was messy, her phone in her hand, typing furiously. I already knew who she was talking to. The next morning at breakfast, I set my phone on the table and pulled up the email from Matt. "I guess he's not here yet?" I asked casually. Her fork froze midair. "What are you talking about?" I turned the screen toward her. "I'm talking about the guy you've been seeing while telling me you love me." She tried to deny it, but the color draining from her face told the real story. I stood up, left my room key on the table, and said, "Enjoy the rest of your vacation. You can have it, just not with me." Then I walked out, booked an early flight home, and left her there. Here's what I learned. Sometimes the sweetest revenge is letting them spend paradise alone. Her birthday gift was the truth. We'd been together for nearly 3 years. Her name was Madison. She loved her birthday, always made it a big event, surrounded by friends, family, and anyone who'd make the night feel special. This year, she decided to throw a huge party at her favorite rooftop bar. 2 weeks before, I found out the truth. She was in the shower when her phone lit up with a message, "Can't wait for our weekend getaway. I'll book the hotel." The name on the message wasn't one I recognized. I didn't confront her. Instead, I started looking deeper. In the next few days, I found pictures she'd been tagged in but hidden from her own profile, nights out with him, his arm around her, smiles that used to be meant for me. I knew I could have ended things quietly. But then I thought about all the people who believed she was someone she wasn't. All the people she fooled. The night of the party came. Madison was glowing, hugging guests, soaking in all the attention. She gave me a kiss on the cheek and whispered, "Best night ever." When it was time for gifts, everyone gathered around. I handed her mine, a small, perfectly wrapped box. She smiled, tearing into it eagerly. Inside was a stack of printed photos, her and him, holding hands, kissing, together on trips she told me were work-related. She went pale. "What is this?" I kept my voice calm. "Your birthday present." The truth. Gasps rippled through the crowd. A couple of her friends stepped closer to see. Someone whispered her name in shock. Madison tried to laugh it off, saying it was a misunderstanding, but no one believed her. I stood up, adjusted my jacket, and said, "I'll leave you to explain it to everyone. Have a great birthday." Then I walked out. She called me 10 times that night. I didn't answer. Here's what I learned. Some gifts aren't wrapped in bows, they're wrapped in consequences. I waited until dinner with her parents. We'd been together for a little over 2 years. Her name was Erica. She was close with her family, and we often had Sunday dinners at her parents' house. They liked me, and I liked them, or at least I did, until I realized the person they thought I was dating didn't really exist. It started with small things. She became vague about where she was going, guarded her phone like it was made of gold, and started working late several nights a week. My gut told me something was wrong. One night, she fell asleep on the couch with her phone in her hand. A message popped up, "Can't wait to see you again tomorrow, Redheart." I didn't need to scroll. That one message was enough. For the next 2 weeks, I didn't say a word. Instead, I learned his name, where he worked, and even saw them together once, holding hands in broad daylight like I didn't exist. That's when I decided I'd end it in a way she wouldn't forget. The next Sunday, we went to her parents for dinner. Everyone was cheerful, passing plates of roast chicken and mashed potatoes. Erica was smiling, acting like everything was perfect. Halfway through the meal, her mom asked how we'd been. I put down my fork and said, "Actually, we won't be seeing each other anymore." The table went silent. Erica's smile dropped. "What are you talking about?" she asked. I looked at her parents. "Your daughter's been seeing someone else for months. I figured you should hear it from me before she spins a different story." Her father frowned. "Is this true?" Erica stammered, "It's not like that." I stood up, grabbed my coat, and said, "If it's not like that, then you won't mind if they see the photos." I placed an envelope on the table. Inside were pictures of her with him. Then I walked out. She texted me later, furious that I humiliated her in front of her family. But the truth is, she did that herself. Here's what I learned. If someone's willing to betray you, they should also be willing to face the people who believed in them. She didn't know I was sitting 2 tables away. We'd been together for almost 2 years. Her name was Lily. She loved trying new restaurants, and we often spent weekends exploring the city's food scene. So when she told me she was going out for a girls' dinner one Friday night, I didn't think much of it. But about an hour later, my friend Ben texted me, "Hey, isn't Lily supposed to be with you? I think I just saw her downtown, with some guy." I called him, and he told me the name of the restaurant. It was one we'd gone to together for our first anniversary. I didn't even hesitate. I grabbed my jacket and drove there. When I walked in, the hostess smiled and asked if I had a reservation. "No," I said, "I'll just sit at the bar." I chose a stool with a perfect view of the dining area. And there she was. 2 tables away. She was dressed up more than she ever did for me lately. The man she was with leaned in, laughing at something she said, and she rested her hand on his arm like it belonged there. They hadn't noticed me yet. I sat there for 10 minutes, sipping my drink, watching them. Every laugh, every glance, every little touch confirmed what I already knew. Finally, I stood up and walked over to their table. "Hey, Lily," I said casually. Her eyes went wide. "Oh, hi, this is..." I cut her off. "Doesn't matter. I just wanted to say you left your charger at my place. Won't be needing it now, though." I set her charger on the table and walked out without waiting for a response. That night, she called me over and over. I didn't answer. The next morning, I got a single text, "We need to talk." We didn't. Here's what I learned. Sometimes the best thing you can say is nothing, and just let your presence do all the talking. She said she was at her sister's. But I was there first. We'd been dating for just over a year. Her name was Natalie. She was close with her sister, always going over there to hang out or help with the kids. I never thought twice about it. One Saturday evening, she told me she was heading to her sister's for the night. "She's going through a lot," Natalie said, "I just want to be there for her." I believed her. At least, I wanted to. But something in her voice felt rehearsed. After she left, I sat on the couch trying to shake the feeling. An hour later, I couldn't. So I decided to take a drive. Her sister lived about 20 minutes away. I figured maybe I'd surprise them with pizza, make it a casual drop-in. When I pulled up to the house, the lights were off. I knocked. No one answered. I called her sister. She picked up on the second ring and sounded surprised. "Hey. What's up?" I asked if Natalie was there. There was a pause. "No, haven't seen her in a while." "Why?" That pause told me everything. I thanked her and got back in my car. I called Natalie, no answer. I texted her, no reply. About 15 minutes later, I drove past a quiet little wine bar we'd been to once. Through the front window, I saw her sitting at a corner table with a man I'd never seen before. They were leaning in close, talking like they'd known each other for years. Her hand was on his leg. I parked across the street and watched for a minute, my heart pounding. Then I started the car and left. When she came home the next day, I didn't yell. I didn't even mention it right away. I just waited until she repeated the lie about staying at her sister's. That I looked her in the eye and said, "Funny, your sister says she hasn't seen you in months." Her face drained of color. She didn't even try to make up a new story. Here's what I learned. When the truth is on your side, you don't have to raise your voice. Sometimes, you just have to let their own words expose them.